Hello everyone, welcome back guys. Hope you all are doing well. This is Mohammad Badruddin and today we are going to solve a machine from Hackthebox. The machine name is awkward and the difficulty level of that machine is medium. So the first thing first, we will start with nmap scan. So nmap space -s capital V for version enumeration, space -s capital C for default scripts, and the target IP is 10.10.11185, and I want to save the scan results in a file named as default.nmap. I already ran the scan to save the time, so I will just show you the scan results. Cat default.nmap. So the first port is port number 22. It's default for SSH and the port state is open. This is a TCP port and the service version is OpenSSH 8.9p1. The second port here is port number 80, which is again TCP port. Port state is open and it is for HTTP. And it's using NGINX 1.18.0, right? So I already created a record in etc host file. If you do not create a record and you try to access just like with the IP address like 10.10.11.185, and once you hit enter, it will give you here an error that it's trying to redirecting you to the hackthebox.htb domain. So if you do not have a record in etc host file, you won't be able to access this application. So the first thing is important to make that domain entry in the etc host file, which I already did it, and as you can see, I can access this application or this website. So in this website, there is not much interesting, as you can see. So the first thing first, I'm going to start Burp Suite on my browser, and I'm just going to refresh this page and let's see what we get here. So as you can see, too many resources are loaded with the same page from the backend. Okay, this is the main request which we wanted to access, but once you call this endpoint, it is going to get more resources like JavaScripts and all. Fine. So here, as you can see, JS boot, custom.js, that could be interesting. Plugins.js, these Java files. There is one app.js, we can see that. But once you see that app.js, you can see there is a token here. Token is equal to guest. Fine. So we will see that in a minute. First thing first, I'm going to see the page source. And if you see the page source, as you can see, all these resources are loaded with that page where you have JS plugin.js. If you can see here, custom.js, and here app.js. So let's see what inside this app.js. So if you click it here, you find a lot of functions, too many functions for different purposes. Check deferred module and all. Fine. So we will see that in a minute, but it's always better to run some enumeration process in the backend. So the first enumeration I'm going to perform here is the subdomain enumeration, which I'm going to do with furf. So furf space -w for the word list. I'm going to use user share seclist. Inside seclist, there is discovery, DNS, subdomain, top 1 million, and space -u for the URL, which is going to be http://hackthebox.htb. And then I'm going to try one header space -h, and inside header I'm going to use host header, and whatever you want to fuzz, you need to put in the uppercase fuzz, and then the domain name. So the domain name is going to be hackthebox.htb, right? And let's see, I'm going to choose number of threads here, let's say 80, and hit enter. So once we hit enter, we can see everything is 200. So just Control C, everything is 200. What I'm going to do, I'm going to filter these results in term of size, or maybe in term of word, because status is 200 for everything. So you can try filtering by line, by word, or by size. So I'm going to filter it with size. So just clear it, and I need to mention one more switch, which is FS for filtering size, and the size was 132. Hit enter and let it run. Now go back to the browser. So here in browser, here, this section is most important, because here you can see there is node modules, means node.js has been used here, and it's too wide, so any reference endpoint in that case. Okay, fine. So what we can do here, Control F, and let's write here href. So there are 14 matches. So the first match is here, which is href. Let's see what's here. Come on. Okay, next one. Okay, next one. HTML dot no. Okay, so there is, if you see that we have href one reference with endpoint dashboard. Okay, next we have one more there. So there is /leave. Okay, let's try dashboard. Because if you try /login, it's not going anywhere. Okay, I'm going to turn off the burp proxy. So as you can see, login does not go anywhere. So what we found dashboard. Let's try dashboard. And as you can see, it's automatically redirect us to the HR endpoint. And in HR endpoint, we have here the login page. Wait a moment. Do we have here HR? Let's see. This is the next one. No. Next one. No. There is HR. So we have here endpoints, HR, dashboard, leaves. So in the nmap, we have port number 22, we have port number 80. In the page source, we found /dashboard, /leave, /HR. Okay, although HR is the login page. So /HR is the login page endpoint, and we have here login page. Now the thing here we saw before, here we saw here token is equal to guest, right? So come back here, let's see, go to the inspect and go to the storage, and in the storage you can see we have token is equal to guest. So if we try to change this to administrator, hit enter and refresh the page, and till then I'm going back to the FUF, and as you can see we found here one subdomain which is store. So I already created a record for this store too in my etc host file to save the time. So let's go and try to access this store page. So http://store.hackvalley.htb, hit enter. Let's see what we have, and it's asking for password. So I tried bunch of random default password like admin password or admin, but doesn't work, right? And the most important thing here is if we try to click cancel, you can see it's showing 401 authorization required. Okay, back here, and as you can see, once we try to put here the token value is equal to administrator, we are able to log in. That means we can bypass the login functionality by changing this token, and this is the very bad security implementation. Okay, now the thing here is you can see there are two portions. The first one is staff details, and the second one is online store status. That means in the staff details we should see here the name, position and phone numbers, means the information of the staff or the employees, and here we should see the status of the store endpoint. I think what we are trying to accessing here is store.hackthebox.htb. So it's saying that the status is down, means we cannot access this endpoint. It's down. If we try to refresh, there is nothing gonna happen. But what we can do, we just can turn on the burp proxy here and go back to the burp proxy, Control A to select all, right click and clear the history. Right now let's try to refresh this page and back to the burp suite. So as you can see, these all the resources loaded behind the scene once you try to access /dashboard. And here if you see closely, you will find here two endpoints. The first one is staff details and the second one is store status, and that's two sections here on the page what we are looking for, because here we cannot find any staff or any employee detail, and here we also can see that the online store is down. Although once we try to individually try to access store, we can access. That's a different method that we don't have credential and we cannot authenticate that, but this store endpoint is alive and we can access it. So here it should be start or up or live should be there. Fine. So now my first preference is to see or to look into this endpoint API/staff detail. This is the endpoint API/staff details, and as you can see the token is equal to administrator. But if we see closely in the response, we can see here there is an error, and the error is saying it's regarding JWT token, and it's saying JWT malformed. That means the token we are using here is not correct. Fine. So I'm going to send this request to the repeater. Okay, let's try to copy the URL and we go back to the browser and let's try from here. I don't want burp suite now to be enabled on the browser. Cancel that and come back in the new tab, paste that, hit enter. Let's see what we will get here. Okay, so this is the thing. This is the response we see in the burp suite. Okay, and if I try to inspect that, storage administrator, right? So let's make it admin, hit enter, refresh it again. And the same thing, nothing changed. Okay, let's try to delete that. There is no value for the, or we can delete it by clicking right click on it and delete all. Fine. And now just refresh it again because I don't want any token. And as you can see, once we delete the token from the request, okay, it's showing us 4 staff members details. So now what we can do, I'm going to crack station. Now we are in crack station, and what we can do from here, go back here, and these are the password hashes. So I'm going to try to crack it with crack station. Come back here, paste that, hit enter, and back again to this, copy that, come back here, paste that, and come back here, copy that, and paste it here. Oh, that's the same one. Copy, Paste that, back again, and copy, paste it here. Now let's try to crack these hashes. Okay, so as you can see, among all these 4 hashes, there is only one hash cracked by the crack station, which is the second one. So let's see who is the second user, the clear text password. So copy that, come back here. Let's now, password is Chris123 and the username is going to be Christopher, this one. So copy that, back again, paste it here. Now we can try to log in with that user. We can try SSH login with that user, but that not the case, and we cannot log in to the server. If we try SSH Christopher.Jones at 10.10.11.185. Okay, password Chris123. And that's not gonna work. Okay, so what else we can do? Now we can do one thing, because up to now we just bypassed the login functionality and we logged into the application, but the information was not here. We also managed to bypass that and exploit the insecure token to get the information of the staff. So let's go. If we try here, there is one more option here, leave request. So if we try leave request, let's see what we get here. So you can see we are back to the login page. Okay, Christopher.Jones and the password is Chris123. Don't save. And this time you can see we get here the picture, because we actually log in as a particular user, and here you can see the staff details are here, but still the online store status is down. And if we go to the cookie, we can see this time there is JWT token. Interesting. I'm going to copy this token here, and I also want to open here, let's say jwt.io. So if we scroll down, and we can paste the token what we got from the user cookie, and as you can see the username is Christopher.Jones, and the algorithm it's using is HS256, which is HMAC SHA256. This algorithm is symmetric algorithm. That means only one key is used to encrypt and decrypt, right? Okay, that's good. Now going back here, we also left one thing, and that's what that is. I'm going to delete that, come back to the proxy, this one. Okay, we leave that. So but now I'm again, because now we are logged in as genuine user, so I'm going to again capture the whole request, because maybe there are some different. Hit enter, back to the proxy, and as we can see the same thing, the same resources are loaded. API staff detail, and this one is the storage. Fine. Now I want to send it to the repeater. Go to the repeater, leave the cookie token as it is, but the interesting part here is URL parameter, and its value is actually the subdomain what we got from the FUF, store.hackthebox.htb. So this may be vulnerable for SSRF, because what condition we see here is very convincing to check the SSRF, and we will check it. So before checking that, I want to see one more thing. So I'm going to the network tab here and scroll down to see that endpoint, this one. So once you click to that endpoint, here you can see the request. Okay, so if we go to the request get parameter, here as you can see the address is localhost and on the port 8080, and this 8080 port was not found on the nmap scan. That means whenever the application is trying to access this URL or this endpoint, that is trying to access store.hatvalley.htb, it is trying to access the local host on port 8080. So there are two things which is very important. The first thing is we can try SSRF, and if we success in the SSRF, if we find out whether the application is vulnerable or not, and if the application is vulnerable, we can also try to scan the ports running on the local server, which is not published, but the application is trying to access the local service. So if there is any other service published locally on the server, we can also access that service by first of all scanning the ports, and if we get any port, any service published on that, we can try that. So the first thing first, I'm going to try this one. So first let's just send this, and as you can see 200 okay, and there are 180 bytes. So leave that 127.0.0.1:8080. The same thing I'm going to try to access, and as you can see we are successfully accessing port 8080. We can do one more thing. Let's start the Python HTTP server on our machine on port 4545. let's say go back to here, and I'm going to put here my IP, which is 10.10.14.103. you can see it here, and the port is going to be 4545. just hit enter, and once we hit enter, you can see it's accessing my HTTP service, and we have two files, node.txt and default.nmap. and if we come back to the terminal, we can see we get the hit here. So SSRF is confirmed. Now we need to scan the ports. So the first thing is we need to, I can use crunch. Let's say minimum number of digits 4, maximum number of digits 4, and I will say use 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and save this in a file, let's say ports.txt. fine, and hit enter. So you can even scan 65,535 ports. Okay, and for that you need to put here minimum number of digits and maximum number of digits up to 5, but 4 is okay. And if we see here ls space -la, you can see ports.txt is there. If I say cat ports.txt, you can see all these port numbers are there, all these values are there, which we will use it as the port number. Now if you want to scan that, we can use fuzz space -w for the word list, and the word list I'm going to use what we created, which is ports.txt, and the URL is going to be http:// or so right click, copy URL, come back here and paste it like that. Now what I need to do is, instead of that, I can write like this, and here instead of port number 8080 I can use fuzz in uppercase. So that means it will take one by one every port from the port file and put here space -t, let's say 100, and hit enter, control C, because as you can see everything is 200. but the size is 0 and the word is 1, line is 1. So now we can filter this result on the basis of size. So everything space hyphen fs 0. So what I am saying here is any result that does not contain size equal to 0. Hit enter and let's see. You can see here port number 80 means the web service is running on port number 80, some kind of web service. Okay, and port number 302. So this port we did not see, right? So let's try to access that port. And here what I'm going to do is just change 3002 and hit enter. Very nice. And as you can see, we get here the API document, API submit leave. If we come here to this login page, logged in page of Christopher, and if we come here, you can see there is leave request. So if we click on this leave request, you can see here the Christopher submitted 2 leave requests, right? And this is the form from where you can also add 1 more leave request. So this is another endpoint for submitting leave. Okay. Also there is sanitization or filtering of input. Okay. Now here is the thing. In this method of submitting leave, you can see exec function is used. Fine. And it is going to take the final entry, whatever user input, which is going to have username, reason of the leave, and start date and end date. So if you come here, you can see the reason of the leave, start date and end date. So it is going to take everything and it is going to echo that request and then paste it in the leave request.csv file. Fine. So this is good, but with the echo, how we can exploit, because this is going to execute commands and we cannot change this part, this echo part and this part, we cannot change it. We can play with that final entry because we have ability to say, to write here something. We can control this input, but we cannot change this part. So echo is not going to make much difference in term of executing commands. Or if we try here something like this, and then if we say who am I and change date, let's say 24, request leave. I don't know whether it's submitted or not. And also there, this one I think is sanitized here. Yeah, it's sanitized. Also this is sanitized and this pipe is also sanitized. So we can try a bunch of bypass techniques to bypass it, but because of echo command, not much convincing. So let's go further, and here as you can see, this is another feature for all leave. So whenever you come here and you click on this leave request, so you get 2 portion. The first portion is to submit a leave and the second portion is listing the leaves you already submitted. So this endpoint is for the second portion, this one, right? So if you see here, this is the endpoint, request and response, decoded token, and jwt.verify user token with the token secret. Okay. And if decoded token.username is not there, the authentication fail is going to be true. else it is there. So it is there means authentication is true. That means user have the username from the decoded token, right? So the token here, as you can see, the token we have, come on, storage. This is the token. This is the token, right? And within this token, it is going to, this token is encrypted. So what it's doing, it is going to decode this token with the token secret, and from the token secret, once it's decoded, it is going to fetch the username of the user. So that's why it is saying user is equal to decoded token dot username, and the username is this one, username, this parameter, and it is decoding the token from the token secret, and user token is the encrypted token. Okay, that's good. Now again, same like before, same like above, it is going to filter out these special characters. And here also the interesting part. Now here, as you can see, it is also using exec function, which is dangerous, but here with that exec function, it is executing awk command. And inside awk command, it is using the user. User means the username, and this username is coming from the decoded value of the token, and it's decoding this value from the token secret. Okay, and what actually this awk command is doing here, suppose this is the file that contains all the leave request in the CSV format. Okay, and here we specify to give me only the leave request details with the username. So it is going to check this file. So suppose there are other users, those are also recorded leave in this CSV file, but this awk command will bring us the output that only contains the username. So in that case, if we come here and go to the last section of this one, so you can see here, once we try to fetch the leaves, here you can see we only have leave that is submitted by the Christopher user, and that's coming from this method. So if we can change this user value, okay, then we can read the file content. For doing this, we must know the token secret. Why? Because what we need to do, we need to change this part, and if we change anything in this part, it is going to change the JWT token, but the JWT token is signed with our secret, and if we don't know the secret, we cannot sign that token. First thing, I am going to take this command, right? Copy that, come back here, paste that. Now we need to change this user value. Okay, and we cannot put this one. So what we can do, okay, we need /etc/password. Suppose that we want to read this file, we need to first close that one. With this slash, it is not going to read this value, because at that instant it is going to read complete this value, which will not read our desired file. So what we can do, we can add here slash, and we can add here single quote. So it is going to close this one, fine, and then it will come to read this, but we don't want this complete. We just want to add here one single slash, single quote, okay, like this. Now this is enclosed and this is enclosed, so it is not going to be counted. We will just get the result of etc passwd. So that means our payload is going to be like this. Copy that and paste it here, fine. All leave, this is the endpoint, and here, as you can see, we have Christopher data. So send it to the repeater, go back to the repeater, send it again. Okay, now let's try here because this is the right request. Let's try here because we already put this payload. Copy that back here, paste it, and send this request. So JSON web token error, invalid signature. That means we must have the token. Fine. So we need to crack the token. Let's see. First thing first, I'm going to create here one new file, and in that file I'm going to copy this genuine token, paste it here, save it, and save it as jwt.text. Okay. Come back here. So hashcat space -m, and I think it's 16,500 if I'm not wrong. Hashcat wiki and example hashes, and here control F, and let's search JWT. So as you can see, this is the JWT JSON web token, have 16,500. So space -m 16,500, then jwt.text, and then the word list. So user share word list rocku.text, hit enter, finger cross, and as you can see, it's cracked the secret. So this is the value for the secret. So I'm going to copy it, come back here to our nodes, and we can write it like this. Token underscore secret is going to be that. Fine. Now we can sign the token, so we can change and play with that JWT token as we want. So we need this payload, but we also need to sign it. So sign it with that key, and once you write here the token secret, it's going to be signed automatically. I'm just going to copy that this time, come back here to the API/all leave request, and just paste the manipulated JWT token, send, and we can read etc passwd file content. Copy this, come back to our nodes and paste that, www data, this one, and root. Let's try to read IDRSA file. Okay, and how we can do that? Home, and the first user was bean, right? Bean /.ssh/id_RSA. So we already put the key here, so we do not change anything. The token is already signed. Just copy that, come back here, change the token, paste it, and send. Fail to retrieve leave request because I think IDRSA file was not there. So let's try to chris Christopher user IDRSA file, Christine actually, not Christopher, it's Christine. So copy that, come back here, Christine, and copy that, come back to the burp repeater, paste that, send, and it also does not contain IDRSA file. There is var/www/ from the API we found this directory private. Okay, and we can read the leave requests from all the users. If we come here, there is again private. We need to try to read the default files in the user's home directory We can read like .bash underscore history. Okay, we can read .bash rc file. Sometime we have zsh underscore history. Okay, so these kind of files we can read. And inside Christine, first of all, I want to try this. Copy that, come back to the repeater and just paste that token, send this. .bash underscore history. This file is not there. Let's try to read it for bean user. Copy back here, paste it and send it again. No. Let's try bash rc. Okay, copy that, back to the repeater, paste it, send again, and yeah, bash rc file is there. So if we scroll down, this is the custom, and as you can see, alias backup of home directory of bean user, which is inside home bean documents backup underscore home.sh. So let's try to read this file. Copy that, come back to the JWT and paste that. Now we have it here. Copy this, back to the repeater, paste that, send, and we are inside this file backup home.sh, right? So come back here, .bash rc bean user home directory bash rc. Inside bash rc we found what we found. We found backup.sh file, and inside backup.sh file we found this. Okay, and here the important part is bean underscore backup underscore final.gz file. So this is the file which we got finally. Now let's try to read this file. So if we come back here and let's actually take the whole content is better. Write it, come back here and again paste that. Now this is the final JWT token. Copy that, back to the burp suite, paste that, send, and this is the gibberish because the file is archive file in the tar.gz format. So we need to actually what we can do, we can access this. How we can access this? We can actually download this file by using curl. Copy this endpoint, copy this URL and paste it here. Now space -h for headers, and header I'm going to use cookie, and cookie is going to be token is equal to, because this is token, right? Cookie, all like this, same like that you can paste. I already write token is equal to, so just I'm going to paste that. This is our cookie, and I want to output this file as, let's say, backup.tar.gz. okay, hit enter and it's downloading, and we get here backup.tar.gz, but there is a problem. gzip std in unexpected end of file tar child returned status 1. Okay, so delete this one. We can try this another way, because if we come back, so first it's excluded these all the files like .npm, .cache, .vs code from this tar, and then it again make it compress. So let's try something else. Instead of getting it in tar.gz, let's download it as zip file. And as you can see, the file is there, zip file. So if we open that, we get here backup. Let's extract it here. So if we try to extract, it's saying there are some data after the end of the payload, data backup. What we can do here, we can just drag and drop here. So now as you can see, okay, fine, we don't need that, but backup is there. Now if you open the backup, we have one folder here, and if we try to access this folder, we have both of the files here. Let's try to extract here, and backup files are there, and we have here backup files, and this time we have the whole content. So what we can do, come back here, extract it here, and bean backup is there. So we have bean backup, and as you can see, the ssh.ssh directory is there, but there is no id rsa file. So bash rc is there, profile is there. So let's try inside config. If you go to xpad, here there is a file content ds. Okay, and here you can find the credentials. So copy that and come back to our notes, and inside notes we can write here password and username. Fine. So let's go and we will try this one, these credentials to log in to the target machine. So I'm going to open the new terminal here, cd desktop, inside desktop awkward, and ssh space hyphen bean. What is the username? bean.hell at 10.10.11.185. hit enter, and this is going to be your password. So copy that, come back here, paste that password, hit enter, paste selection, hit enter. What we got beans.hill was not I think this is the complete username, but the user is only bean. So ssh bean at 10.10.11.185, and the password we already copied here. Paste the password, hit enter. What's that? Copy and paste it here, and we logged in. So ls space hyphen la, we have user.text, clear cat user.text. So this is our first flag, and we successfully logged in as user bean. So this is the first part of this machine. In the second part, we will do some lateral movement. We will try to find out the attack vectors and attack surface. Then we will try to escalate our privileges from bean user to other user, or maybe to root. So that's it for this video. If you like the content, please like, subscribe and share. See you in the next video. Bye.